What's up, everybody? Welcome into your NFL pregame show. I am Rob Trujillo, hanging with my guy, Dave. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Oh, do we have issues? Can you not hear me? Dave, you there? You there, big dog? No, maybe we can't hear each other. Well, that's not good. It's not a good start to the day.
I can hear you now.
Oh, he can hear. What are you, a Verizon commercial from the 1990s? What's good, Doug? How you doing?
A carefree Sunday for us Bills fans after a resounding win, but that just means there's plenty of football to watch today and a little less pressure on us. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We got to talk about it at some point, and we'll talk about what it means football wise, coming up later. But I want to start the show, despite the fact that it's a little bit somber, with Tua, and just kind of a quick little talk about it and our thoughts.
Well, I mean, you got a guy who's 26 years old, just got the bag, had a history of concussions, and not just like wake up a little dizzy or stand up and kind of, I'm not, not stable. These are severe concussions where it was obvious for whatever they call it, the fencer's pose, where the hands curl up and, that's part of, and again, I'm not a neuroscientist or anything, but those are severe concussions, and it happened again. So now you're at 5 documented, and for football players, you've played through some hits where maybe you should have come off the sideline. 5 documented concussions at 26 years old. You feel bad.
It's tough. And listen, I got told I had to stop playing football because of concussions. So so everybody knows where I'm at on this. That's tough. It's tough when somebody tells you that. It's not an easy thing to hear. It's a dream that for me, I was chasing for a decade. For him, he's been chasing for probably close to 2.
2, yeah.
And to just get told like, hey, you made it to the highest level, but you can't do this anymore.
Right.
That is not as easy as everybody makes it sound like it is. It's not as easy to hear. It's not as easy to say. It's not as easy to believe. And so when people are like, yeah, but you're talking about your life. And when you're in that situation, this is your life. You know what I mean? Like so someone who loves him needs to sit him down and tell him he needs to stop playing. 100%.
And that's not, of course, anytime somebody gets hurt on Twitter, 90% of the people are like, prayers up to whoever, and I hope they recover quickly and blah, blah, blah. And then you've got the shitbirds on Twitter who automatically say, good, he shouldn't be playing. I'm glad he's hurt. That's just not.
I saw less of the trolls, not to say that there aren't trolls.
Yeah.
But I saw less of the trolls for this. Like, I felt like people legitimately were like.
But as a Bills fan, like, I get no joy in that. I actually like when we have a kind of a competitive rivalry with somebody. I don't want it necessarily to be what the Patriots had with us for 20 years, just getting stomped. But that was the first decent quarterback they've had in a while. So it was good to see, some potential there. They were building a team, but like from a business perspective, the Dolphins gave him the bag. I'm not sure if I were a general manager, I would have taken that risk. But it's also a quarterback-driven league. So what do you do? Not pay your quarterback?
Storchio says that's why I switched to goalie back in junior high. Like, we'll get to the football part of it in one moment, but like, this is a conversation that every athlete has in different ways and at different times. But it's the one thing in our athletic lives that we share with Peyton Manning and Mario Lemieux and whoever else, right? This is the one athletic you get told you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, however that happened to you, however Father Time won, whether it was injuries or whatever, that's the one thing all athletes share is most of us, I shouldn't say all of us because some people's lives cut tragically short and they don't get told that, but most of us who, you know, make it through our prime, we get told that you can't do what you love to do anymore. And it's a tough thing.
But I mean, there's an element to it where you go, you know, if it's linemen with back issues, if it's running backs with knee issues, if it's concussions for any player, like, what is your quality of life? And I get it. You spent the last 20 years building up to this. You got to the highest level. You proved it. Somebody telling you no when I'm sure other people have told you no in middle school and high school and college. Oh, you'll never do this. You'll never do this. Then you get there and then have somebody say, if you don't want to be, you know, drooling on yourself and unable to, you know, take care of yourself by the time you're 30, 35, you got to stop. It's got to be tough, man. Like I can't imagine, but you also got to go, do you want to be able to like pick up your kids? Do you want to be around for them? Like CTE is no joke. Like I don't want to draw any references to Aaron Hernandez or anything, but you get hit in the head too many times. It can change your personality. It can cut your life short anyways. Like,
yeah. And I work with football players who like have that extreme of circumstances. And like, there are days, the one guy in particular that I know, like, he can't, if it's sunny, he can't go out.
Yep.
Like, he's that sensitive to light. And so, you know, we would have him on every now and again he would call us and just be like, guys, I can't do it today. You know what I mean? And like, that's the life he lives now. That's every day. So, and here's the other thing. So that's one side of it. I'm very sympathetic to Tua for that. Everybody's like, oh, why don't you just tell him to retire? I'm very sympathetic to that. The other side of the equation is, I don't know how to say it. I'm trying to pick my words very carefully.
Yeah.
As you can tell. I guess I want to say it this harshly. We've never seen somebody on the field, on the ground, unconscious. You called it the fencer's pose. Apparently that is the medical term for it. We have never seen somebody like that on the field multiple times.
No.
Like we've seen people have concussions and lay on the field like that and then never come back and play again. Kevin Everett comes to mind for me because we're Bills fans. And so, you know, I remember seeing him laying there on the field. Same, you might see it happen to somebody one time. And then they never play football game again. Right. You know what I mean? We have watched Tua have an episode like that. I was going to say 3. What was the 4? I mean,
so it was his first when he got knocked backwards and hit his head, curled up.
Yep.
Then it was what? Was that 2 weeks later?
So next week. It was a Thursday night.
Yeah, they put him back in.
Found even more ridiculous.
Yeah, first hit just got hit again. Maybe it is only 3.
Yeah, and then this next game against the Bills, and like full on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so, you know, you see that happen to a guy like one time, then he comes back and it never happens in his career again. You're not so worried. Like, dog, we have seen you on the field seizing up essentially 3 times
in 2 years.
At some point, again, I'm sympathetic to the conversation on his end, but like at some point, someone's got to help. Someone's got to stop you, you know? So, all right. Well, I just wanted to start with that because obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to him. I don't know, David, you don't pray, something else maybe, but I don't pray much either.
I hope somebody close to him says,
yeah,
your future could be broadcasting, coaching, front office, recruiting, analysis.
Your future could just be hanging out with your kids, dog.
Yeah, you got the bag. You got the bag.
Money. And that is going to be really interesting. So now let's get into some ancillary conversations that spring off of that. And I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but there's a lot of interesting conversations because if the NFL tries to take money back from him, like if he gets medically cleared and then decides to retire and the NFL tries to take money back from him, it is going to be a PR nightmare like you have never seen.
and with we're trying to make the game safer with the covering up of CTE and all the concussion stuff. This is one you can't do.
Well, like it'll be super interesting. So apparently it's around 125 that he's got right now that he got paid out for the life of the contract. No, so what happens sometimes is if you don't play that entire contract pro-rated, they can come and take back some of that money per year. And so they would be able to go after that 125 and take like 100 of it back because only 20 of it is actually signing bonus for that year. And so they could go take like $100 million away from him if they wanted to, which I don't think they will, but it's just
the most recent CBA also, like the word retire doesn't exist in the CBA.
Right.
So the NFL Players Association can say he performed his job under his contract, and because of injuries, because this is a dangerous sport, he can't do that anymore. Yeah. You are putting his life at risk. And don't get me wrong, I think he and the Dolphins need to work out, assuming he retired, they need to work out an injury settlement where it's $50 million, which is generational wealth. Not that 25 million isn't generational wealth, not that 5 million isn't generational wealth. And it's not like he already didn't make all the money in his first contract, but like come to an injury settlement where nobody's happy, but everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do that all preemptively. Like,
of course,
if that is what Tua decides, you got to do that all before.
But how do you not have that conversation before you sign him to a 4-year, $200 million deal?
Yeah.
How do you not go, this is already, we know this is who you are. And they were thinking jiu-jitsu and him putting on 10 pounds last year was going to save his career.
Yeah, but you didn't think you'd be having the conversation in week 2 of the contract being signed. You know,
I mean, you would hope not, but again,
what up, Bittersweet? She says Tua must retire. And like, I opened the show by saying, like, I am sympathetic because everybody gets told at one point or another that they can't play the game anymore. Most people get told. And for Tua, man, it's not as easy as everybody's making it out. Like, you spent the last 20 years of your life working to get here, and now you're here, and you've got a coach that believes in you and an organization that paid you, and people were arguing that you should be MVP last year. It's a 20-year dream he worked towards to get here. To just tell him that he can't do it anymore, I mean...
Bittersweet, you hit the nail on the head. I think we both kind of said it earlier. Do you want to spend time with your kids? Do you want to be alive to spend time with your kids? Do you want to be mentally clear enough to spend time with your kids and your wife and your family and everything else?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? If it actually is going to cost him his life. But the thing is, we don't actually know if it's going to cost him his life. We have evidence that suggests that it's going to affect his quality of life in a ton of ways. But, you say, is it easier dying or quitting football to save your life? And it's not quite that cut and dry. And because it's not, because there are shades of gray, it makes it harder for him to make that decision. I got told I couldn't play anymore, and I had only put a decade into it, but I got told I couldn't play anymore because of concussions. If they have to tell him that, it's tough.
All right, let's get off of Tua for now.
Well, so just real quickly, I also wanted to touch on, from a football standpoint, the Dolphins. I mean, their season in week 2 may have ended.
In trouble.
Yeah, just like that.
I mean, you got Hill, you've got Waddle, you've got Achane, you've got.
And none of it matters if you can't get them the ball.
Though, to be fair, did Tua have the best arm? No. He had decent accuracy, not in this game, and he's got good timing. If you have somebody who's got enough arm to get it in the hands of your skill players, you're going to be fine. So Teddy Bridgewater is coaching football.
Is that Skylar Thompson? Is it Teddy Bridgewater? Is it Ryan Tannehill? Is it Tom Brady?
You shut your whore mouth. You shut your whore mouth. I refuse.
I think it's more likely than people think. I really do.
I know, and I hate you for it.
I would not be surprised in the least. I mean, you want a guy to just come in and distribute? And granted, he's probably not at playing weight, so it would be tough for him, but man.
No, they're gonna have to trade for somebody. Teddy Bridgewater would be off the street. He's coaching high school football somewhere in Florida right now, so that's probably the easiest. But you also want somebody who maybe went through training camp and is in football shape and maybe is a backup. But they're going to have to give up picks for that.
The name I heard in that vein is Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Do I like that?
Yeah, it'd be very interesting for them if they went Kenny Pickett route.
With the weapons they have, could you make it work with Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
Would you take him over Skylar Thompson? I probably would.
I mean, I hear you, buddy. It's just it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they can work out here, because here's the thing. So that team is loaded with talent, and not only is that team loaded with talent, but depending on how the Tua contract thing works out, this is a limited window. Like they went into this knowing
they paid everybody.
They paid everybody, and at some point that is going to come home to roost. And if you are chalking this up as a lost season, you got to try to fix that sooner rather than later. Which means
trade everybody.
Well, not everybody, but trading some of those bigger cap hits and trying to get them the dead cap to hit before you really get into trouble, right?
I mean, Hill, Waddle, Ramsey, Teron Armstead, all paid. Tua paid.
Jalen Phillips got paid.
So you've got 7 people who have been paid kind of
got paid
money. Oh, Jesus.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like they are, and they were doing it because Tua was on a rookie contract, and then they gave him a big deal, and now you don't have him anymore. And like, again, if you're just hopping in, we are sympathetic to the human side of the Tua thing. We spent 10 minutes talking about it earlier, but the football side of things could get real ugly for the Dolphins here real fast when this was a season that they were flagging as we're going after it kind of thing. So yeah, interesting, tough conversation to have, but what a way to start an NFL Thursday night. You know what I mean?
And if you're the Bills, you just took a AFC East opponent, dismantled them, and Josh Allen had to do almost nothing. 19 passes, like not a whole lot for him to need to do. You had good run game and great defense. Let's get into the Sunday games. Start with the early games, yeah?
Yeah, I got a new thing I'm trying here so we're just gonna edit on the fly. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. Oh, how's that look? No, No, I don't like
And
that.
for the bettors out there, this is my first season betting, and last week went pretty well. We're picking
Oh yeah,
usually
tell
against
everybody
the
how you
spread.
did there.
I think I missed 3 or 4, though I did put a little extra money on the Broncos spread and kind of won back a little bit of the loss there. But overall, did really well. I know, Rob, you did well. We are using BetMGM. That's just so we were on a consistent level with spread and kind of risk analysis for each of these bets.
Ken, does that look as crappy to you as it looks to me?
That doesn't look great, but you can see it clearly. So let's
Can you?
just go
Because
for it.
mine, I can't see it clearly, but it is my screen. So, all
You
right, well,
didn't
we'll
log
do
in,
that
though.
as long as you can see it. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks all right. All right, let's do that. Okay, so going into the week here, there are some incredible matchups this week. There are also some real duds. As you know, we'll go down. Dave and I will bet every game against the spread. He was kind of vamping there. Told you that he did really well. Did you actually count up your number as to what your record was?
I didn't, but I can do that here in a second.
Well, that's because you suck.
That's true.
I, on the other hand, went 12-3 over the weekend.
Ooh, baby.
And I hit 2 middles too, which means my picks this week are absolutely going to be shit. Don't listen to a single pick I have this week.
You did too well.
Yeah, I undoubtedly will go 5-10 this week. But a good start to the year. And I think here's what I think that says. I only made a couple picks last week that the three of us were like, oh, you're taking that team. So what that says to me is I think the NFL is a lot of what we thought it was this year. You know what I mean? Like these teams, maybe the Bengals were the one big surprise. And I don't even think the Bengals were that bad. I went back and watched that game. The outcome was not good, but ball punched out on the 2-yard line and a turnover. And you know what I mean? It's just, I don't think the Bengals were as bad as everybody else, as the score indicates that they were,
Yeah, it was, there were a couple games where that Cincinnati game, everything that could have gone wrong for Cincy went wrong for Cincy. Muff punt, ball coming out in the end, right at the end zone. Who's there? Oh, Cincy had the touchdown called back where Mike Gesicki had it in the corner of the end zone. It looked like he caught it, and then on the replay, you see he bobbled it. There were just some games that were like, I can tell you, I definitely lost that New Orleans game. That was gross. That game. I mean, Carolina, so it is what it is.
I'm
but
still not willing to admit the Saints are good.
No.
If you watched this pregame show last year, I am a staunch Saints hater for no reason other than I don't think they're very good. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, so let's start with Raiders and Ravens. Raiders getting 8.5 points. I like to point this out because this is a better thing. West going to East, right? So from Vegas to Baltimore, an 11 o'clock
early game.
Start, it feels like a 10 a.m. start for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, listen, these guys are finely tuned athletes. Should it affect them that much? No. Does it affect them a little bit? I think so. I think it does.
Not a lot of injuries. I was scouring the injury report, so not a lot going on there for either team. 8.5 is a big spread, but again, a West Coast team coming to the East Coast for an early game. Ravens feeling bad about that loss, which I know I would if you were, one shoe size away from taking that win. I got to go Ravens here, but that 8.5 scares me.
Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the 8.5.
Okay, I'm in.
The reason I'm going to take the 8.5 here is because teams don't know how bad they are yet. And I think the Ravens are significantly better than the Raiders, but you just get some silly scores these first couple weeks. I am very, very wary of the West to East thing. I really am. These are the teams that it affects more than anybody because the teams that aren't in primetime slots. Nobody really cares about it. It's not a featured game. People aren't getting hyped. Like, those are the ones that I think the West to East really affects. So,
and I also don't think the Raiders are a great team. They've got some top tier talent. I think they'll put it together at some point this year and string a couple wins together. I don't think it's this one. And I think the Ravens are going to come out and lay fire to these guys.
8.5 is a lot in the NFL.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of points. And
last
week I took the Patriots because they were getting 7.5, not because I believed in the Patriots. This week I'm taking the Raiders because they're getting 8.5, not because I believe in the Raiders. All right, next game, Chargers and Panthers. And remember, this is your NFL pregame show. So if you have any questions on who you should start in fantasy, who you should pick in Survivor, what bets you should place, whatever, totally welcome those questions. Chargers and Panthers, again, West Coast to East Coast with a 1 o'clock game. Chargers minus 5.5 points versus the Panthers here. Panthers looked awful last week.
Terrible.
So bad. Looked so bad. But
I might even considering bumping this one up a little bit.
The Chargers played a very Jim Harbaugh game last week.
They sure did.
Which is, that's fine. That's what he's going to do. So, Chargers, Panthers, who you got?
I can't pick the Panthers. If I pick the Panthers at all this year, slap me. I don't see it coming together. I don't think the team's got the talent, the coaching, the ownership. I don't think they're ever worth betting on, and 5.5 feels fine to me. I may consider bumping that up to 7.5. I'd still feel comfortable at 7.5.
I want to take the Panthers here. I want to do it. Tell me not to do it.
Hey, you do you, Boogaboo. I'm.
By the way, Storcio, enjoy your weed run.
That's right. Assuming it's legal in your area.
It is. He lives here, so he's happy to. I'm glad you're taking us with you as you go on your weed run. Could you imagine 20 years ago?
Panthers tickets.
Yeah, mental health guy says, have you seen the ticket prices on the Panthers game? No, I have not. Are you looking that up right now, David? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I'm hopping on Ticketmaster real quick to see what's happening.
Okay.
We got Sunday, September 15th with the VIP tailgate. I hate Ticketmaster.
I bet you there's a $6 ticket somewhere. Bet you there's a $7 ticket somewhere.
Adult tickets $115, and that's for the VIP tailgate and ticket.
I mean, that's pretty normal.
That's reasonable.
I'm sure. Is there a resale on there? Are you still looking at regular prices? You know what I mean? Like somebody trying to get rid of their tickets is probably what he's talking about.
Well, now I'm looking at just a regular ticket, no VIP anything. I'm sure these are going to be Colorado Rockies style. I'm seeing tickets as low as $23.
There you go. Nice little day for the family. You know what I mean? Take them out.
Cheaper than going to a movie.
There you go. Cheaper than going to a movie. I took the Panthers.
But then you got to watch the Panthers play football or try to.
I took the Panthers.
Baby. Okay. Well, I'm going Chargers.
They're going to win a game this year. Not saying it's going to be this one. But this is, again, West going East. The Chargers play a boring brand of football. Right? They beat the Raiders by what? Like 5 points last week?
Yeah.
Was it 22-17, I think it was?
And that's a rival that knows them well, and they still beat them by almost a full touchdown. So,
but like I'm just saying, like Harbaugh just wants to play boring. So
now if you want to smash the under, smash the under.
No, but I'll take the points. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying the Chargers don't win this game, but I bet you it's by a field goal. You know what I mean? So I'll take the 5.5 with the Panthers.
Enjoy that.
Saints and Cowboys. Here's a game that I feel like it's the two teams that I never want to talk about because I just don't think either of them are actually any good. But if I had to pick a team that I thought was actually any good between the two of them, I'd pick the Cowboys.
Six is tough because that's two field goals isn't going to do it. You need 7. And I understand everybody's on the Saints hype train because they threw up 40-something points last week against the Panthers. Please remember, against the Panthers.
God, I hate my picks this week. Remember when I told you I was going to get like 3 games right? Here you go. I'll take the Saints plus 6. That's too many points. Too many points.
Dirty. I can't do it. I think the Cowboys defense is going to give them something they haven't seen. Micah Parsons is going to come in and wreak havoc. I'm taking the Cowboys minus 6.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I like that Cowboys team, especially in the NFC a lot. I just don't think Dak got paid. So, like, and so did CD. Like, everybody's happy. Kumbaya. You know what I mean? And I think that does matter.
Also, Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys is doubtful to play. I don't think that's the focal point of their offense, so I'm less worried about that.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. Diggs coming off torn up knee. Micah Parsons is an animal. But
so you're taking the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, God, they're 2 quarterbacks that are just uninspiring. You know what I mean? Just uninspiring. But yeah, I'm going to take the Saints because I want the 6. I don't know. Give me a big Chris Olave game. Like, I don't know what to say there. I just, for some reason, I can't lay 6 with the Cowboys. So I'm taking the points. Really, is what's happening here. All right. What's that?
I mean, if that's how you're feeling, I can't ride with you on that one.
It's because you're a wuss. Bengals with 7.5 in a playoff rematch, a divisional round playoff rematch.
Buccaneers, not Bengals.
Did I say Bengals?
You said Bengals.
Oh, well, Buccaneers and Lions. Obviously, the Bengals didn't play the Lions in the playoffs because that would have been the Super Bowl. Buccaneers and Lions, a rematch of the divisional round of the divisional round. They got to play the Bucs in the divisional round, Dave. You know who we lost to in the divisional round the last few years? It just makes me angry. Could you imagine getting to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the divisional round of the playoff? Anyways, I'm not bitter.
Good for Baker.
Listen, I'm happy for Baker. Bucs getting 7.5 headed up to Detroit, which, I mean, that building was electric last week. That was fun.
You expect that though. Home opener, big NFC kind of playoff implication game. Yeah, you would expect that. This Jameson Williams is questionable as of today. They say likely to play. So if they come in with a full steam, healthy roster, that's a Lions team that's tough.
With these quarterbacks, they can have a them day, and it means 2 totally different things. Jared Goff can have a Jared Goff day and can throw like 7 picks and suck, right? Or he can be steady Eddie and be fine. Every once in a while, he'll hop up and do something great, but I wouldn't call that having a Goff day. Having a Goff day is when he has a bad day. Baker Mayfield can have a Baker day, and when Baker Mayfield has a Baker day, that is a good thing, right?
He's lighting it up, right?
He lights it up. And it just makes these two teams really hard to predict. Consistency at quarterback, I get it, is a hard thing to actually produce. Over 51.5. That's massive. It's
a huge game. But I will say the Buccaneers have one thing that the Lions don't right now, and it's a lack of expectation. Kind of how the Bills came into the season. Oh, they've retooled their weapons. It's going to be a slow start. Who's the number one scoring offense in the league? Oh, that's weird. I mean, obviously the Saints haven't played yet, and they hopefully won't score another 40-burger this week. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucs here. Both teams fairly healthy. Obviously, Williams is questionable, but everybody else is looks like they're good to go. Obviously, we haven't seen the actives and inactives today. 7.5 is a big spread for two good teams. I'm going to take the Bucs here.
I'm really struggling with this one. This is the third time that I want to take the other team, but I'm taking the points instead. And that is a dangerous feeling for me.
Yikes.
Right? Like it makes me feel like I'm going to pick like 3 games right this week. Just so I scroll down my list here and say to myself, what a freaking nightmare, because I liked all these other teams. But give me the Bucs. Give me the 7.5. I'll go with you on it. It's that hook that really gets me, because I think the Lions probably win by a touchdown.
Right, and that's fine. And that's why 7.5, you feel just a little bit more comfortable. If it was 6.5, you go, I don't know if I'm taking
Vegas
that.
knows that. Vegas knows that.
Almost like they want our money.
Yeah. It's
all
almost
right.
like they built a whole bunch of casinos, because they've been right and we've been wrong a whole lot. Okay, Colts and Packers. No Jordan Love in this game.
Malik Willis,
who has, by the way, been there for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because he got traded after the preseason finale. So
Jaden Reed is questionable for Green Bay. For Indy, only Joshua Downs is questionable. Everybody else seems pretty healthy. Malik Willis isn't doing it for me. I'm going to ride the Colts here. This is a game where if you wanted to bump up and go, minus 5.5, I could see you bumping that, but I'm going to take the Colts there. Over-unders at 41. That doesn't do anything for me. Money lines minus 140 or 120 for the Packers. None of that does it for me. So I'll take the spread. I'll take the minus 2.5 for the Colts. Could consider bumping it up. I'm not quite there yet. I'll take a field goal win, but I feel like it's probably going to be a good deal more than that.
I hate it. I hate it so much. My gut is telling me Packers and my head is telling me Colts. Man, so many of these games I would have stayed off of in a regular world. Listen, look at, and this is a little tick you can find, right, to give you hints. Look at the 2 VIGs on the spread. Minus 2.5 is minus 105, which means they want you to bet it, right? Plus 2.5 is minus 115, which means they don't want you to bet it, which makes me want to bet the plus 2.5, right? It's interesting because normally when you're bumping up against a full score, like 3 points, it's the other way around.
Right.
And so, like, they would normally want you to bet plus 2.5, because then they get the hook on the field goal, right?
What's the most important position?
Yeah, the plus 2.5 would be minus 105, and it's not, which tells me something. Like, do they believe in Malik Willis? What do they know that I don't know? Right? It's killing me.
Quarterback is the most important position. Right now, there's no stability for them at quarterback. They have some good skill players. They got a run game, and they've got a defense. I 100% get that. But if everything else was equal,
guy for a game, yes is the answer to that question. Yes is the answer to that question.
So you're taking the Packers here?
I'm really thinking about it. I mean,
so one of us is going to wind up absolutely shitting the bed this week. one is going to turn out okay. You've gone against the spread a lot this week. This may be your week. Maybe you come in next week and just go, don't worry about it. It's just a little.
Here's the thing. I don't trust Anthony Richardson much more than I trust Malik Willis. And so then if you go to coaches, then it's
time on task. Anthony Richardson has been in the system, has been there. Even when he was injured, he was around the building. So there's consistency there that I'm going to take over Malik Willis coming in a couple weeks ago, assuming he's not going to play, having to jump in, week 2. Come on. But if that's what you're going for, if you're feeling froggy, leap.
I'm taking the Colts. No, I'm taking the Colts. I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to lay the 2.5. I just feel like I'm going to get torched on that one, and then next week I'm going to yell at you for it.
You're allowed to.
Because you talked me into it. All right. Browns at Jags. Wow, Deshaun Watson is washed. Holy
terrible. Get my Charles Barkley out. Terrible.
I mean,
but when was the last time he played meaningful football?
I mean, he did last year. He did last year. He just wasn't good when he did that either.
Yeah.
And then,
they thought that was shaking off the rust. It's not rust. It's
man. And that contract just looks worse and worse.
And they're thinking what we thought about Vaughn with the injuries. You're like, maybe if this, arrest, or maybe if this legal trouble, really does something, you might be able to get out of some of that contract. For a fact the Cleveland front office is going, please, somebody show up with something that means we can cancel this contract.
I said it last week. I'll say it more emphatically this week, even though I said it pretty emphatically last week. The Browns season depends on when they get the balls to bench Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's it.
100%.
It's the only, they have an incredible defense. They've got decent skill positions. Their O-line is good. Man, it's just, are you going to bench his ass? Do you have the balls to bench his ass? Because if they do it this week, you can still save the season. And this is why they brought in all those quarterbacks. This is why they had so many on their original roster. Because I think, what's their coach's name? It just flew right out of my head.
Oh, not Sirianni.
No. Why is this happening to us?
Because it's early on a Sunday.
Jesus, man. Stefanski, thank you. I think Stefanski knew that Watson was washed and was like, I need options at quarterback. And it's probably a fight he's having with ownership of, I need to bench the guy. And they're probably saying, you are not benching the guy.
You've also got David Njoku out and Nick Chubb on IR. So I don't love that. That +3 for the Browns doesn't really do it for me.
Doesn't do it for me either. You got a team with the Jaguars who should have won last week.
If Javon Holland hadn't punched out the ball at the goal line from Travis Etienne, that game is 2 full touchdowns ahead with 3 minutes left. The next play after the recovery in the end zone was that 80-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill. Not to say that couldn't have happened on the next play, but they would have been down 2 touchdowns. So you probably play some sort of shell coverage and just don't let that happen. So
that Jaguars team looked great. The defensive line is a good, solid defensive line. They will get after Deshaun Watson.
It's Deshaun Watson, assuming they don't bench him in week 2.
I think he's going to get benched here soon. I really think Stefanski probably wanted to do it to start the year, and his higher-ups, let's say, were like, you are not benching Deshaun Watson. I think if he has another game like he had last week, that he gets benched at halftime. Because, I mean, I'm
taking a look at when Cleveland's bye week is. Bye week is week 10. That's too late. You've already wasted a season.
I'm saying he does it. I think he might do it this week. You know what I mean?
Really?
I think he might bench him at halftime. If he plays like he played last week, I think he might bench him at halftime.
Okay.
So,
but we're going Jags -3.
Yeah, I think we're both on Jags -3 there.
Not a problem for me.
Niners and Vikings. Vikings had a decent showing. I mean, listen, we knew they were a decent team. The problem was quarterback. You know what I mean? Right. But Sam Darnold didn't have to do much. He looked fine.
But Jordan Addison is out. Minnesota's missing Jordan Addison at wide receiver. TJ Hawkinson's on the pup. And obviously McCaffrey's out for a while on IR.
Yeah, that was the news of the week. That was the news of the week, is that McCaffrey goes to IR. Achilles/calf. And he's one of the few players that I think actually moves the line a little bit. You know what I mean? That's not a quarterback. So.
But do you think the Vikings have the defense to stop what looked like a pretty complete team in the Niners? Yes, they ran the hell out of the ball, even without McCaffrey last week. But you've got a bunch of receivers. You got one of the best tight ends in Kittle, and you've got a solid defense. I just don't see the Vikings in a horse race. They don't have the horses.
It's interesting because if Kirk Cousins was their quarterback this year, wouldn't you say that this is a potential NFC Championship game matchup? In years past, that's what this has felt like.
Yes, but then it'd be Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, and I'd still take the Niners.
I'm just saying, like, if they had a more stable quarterback situation, the Vikings actually have a pretty good team, and we all know that. So, you know, what does Sam Darnold have to do to get them back to that level? Not much. He's got to be consistent. He's got to be.
They'd have to win the turnover battle, which means Sam Darnold's got to not make mistakes, and the Vikings defense is probably going to have to grab one or two, picks or fumbles, whatever it is, stop on fourth down.
It's just a team that could be surprising this year. You know what I mean? Like, they have talent on that team. It's not, we were talking about the Panthers before, and it was like, this roster is devoid of talent. That is not who the Vikings are. You know what I mean?
Right.
I will say this again, a little bit different. Understand where this is geographically, but it is west going east. And you say, well, they're not going all the way to the East Coast. It doesn't matter. The time slot is still the same, right? They still are a Western team that has to play in the early time slot. And it's something that bettors pay attention to. So that's why I keep mentioning it to you. So now I've told you, I've made a case for the Vikings. Do you watch that game with the 49ers?
Yes.
I mean, did you watch that game?
Gave them all they can handle.
I mean, the Niners are a machine. They are a machine. And I really thought maybe some of this early season contract stuff would catch up to them. McCaffrey was out.
Starting left tackle
hadn't been in camp. Trent Williams hadn't been in camp. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. They've got so much talent on that team, with Brock Purdy being on a rookie deal, and Kyle Shanahan is a wizard, and just doesn't matter.
Defense? That defense looked good too. So, I'm taking the Niners here. 4.5 doesn't scare me. If it was 6, then you have some questions. 4.5, I'm fine with.
Now, it's not exactly true anymore. It's more like 2 points, 1.5 for being at home. It used to be, if you're the home team, you get 3 points, right? Like, that was the standard line. But if you do give them 3 points, like, that's a full touchdown better than the Vikings. The books are saying this, the Niners are. And I think they are a full touchdown better. I think you would have to give the Vikings a full touchdown at home for me to take them. So I'll take the Niners -4.5 as well.
There we go. 2 more games in the early slot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the darlings of week 1.
Jesus.
The darlings. Our good friend Dana had plenty of fun watching the Patriots beat the Bengals. Now they get their home opener. Hey, guess what? I'm going to say it again. West going to East, Seattle coming across the country to play the Patriots in New England, and they're hanging 3 points. David, I'm going to do it here. This is where I'm
the Patriots again.
This is where I'm taking the home dog. Why are you making me do this? Why? NFL? Why?
I'm coming with you.
Vegas?
I'm coming with you on that train.
Why are you doing this to us? I'm taking New England plus the points.
I also didn't think Seattle's win last week was against a very good-looking Broncos team.
I think the Broncos are better than people think.
I think they have the ability to, but I don't think Seattle looked very good. I think on offense, they were shaky, and their defense was okay. The Patriots looked pretty good. They were super opportunistic. Again, Cincinnati, anything that could possibly go wrong in a football game for Cincinnati went wrong, and in the Patriots' favor, they come out with a win. That's great.
Let's be clear. If they played that game 10 times, the Patriots lose 9 of them. Okay? They don't play it 10 times. They play it once.
Right.
And so now you've got a team that's coming off a high for a home opener. And here's the thing. That team, that Seattle team, I feel like, is not a high-flying team.
No.
They hired a defensive coach because they wanted it to look similar to what Pete Carroll did.
Right.
And so what happens when you have games like that are slugfests? Well, first of all, your team has to learn how to win like that. And they did win last week. But you're going to inevitably have close games. You will not get 31-10 like that. You know what I mean? That's not how that happens. Yeah. And so, like, I just feel this being a close game. I think the West to East matters here. I feel like these two teams are going to play defense and run the ball. It's going to be real boring like the game last week for the Patriots was. Yep. And at most, the Seahawks win by a field goal at the end. Could be wrong, but I just this has all the makings of a game I don't want to watch. You know what I mean? You know,
this is not going to be fireworks. This is not going to be acrobatic catches. This is going to be ground and pound. You know, the clock's going to run fast. The game time is going to be 2 hours and 23 minutes. It's just going to be handoff, punt. Maybe you catch a couple decent plays, but I have no interest. I will take the home dog here and go with the Patriots. God help us all.
I hate that I have to do it. And the thing is, they want you to bet that too. They want you to bet Patriots +3. I don't know why. -105 on that. All right. Maybe because a lot of people are thinking like us. Jets at Titans. Man, they got waxed last week. I mean,
against a very good team. I will say, Rob, you were 100% right last week. You said, you know, when it comes down to making that one play, you actually trust a very old Aaron Rodgers to use his brain, to use his arm. He had some great passes. That middle of the field touchdown pass in the third, you went, still got an arm, and he put it right on the money, and it was a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers looked okay. Jets defense got smoked, but against a team with a whole bunch of weapons. I don't know if the Titans are going to be that.
Up 17-3 on the Bears and just gave it away. That has to be demoralizing. These are two teams that are coming off demoralizing losses in two different ways. And God, you never like to say this in week 2, but like it feels like Jets have to get this one.
Like in the AFC, I know there was a lot of preseason talk about, oh well, the Jets might actually have a shot at the AFC East. You go down 0-2 to start the season, especially if one of those losses against the Titans.
Well, and
you're not coming back from that.
How it looks matters too. You know what I mean? Because like when we're sitting there with the paper schedule and we just write win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. That's one thing, right? There's a feel, there's a vibe to these seasons, and it takes a really plugged in coach to be able to overcome the feeling of eternal dread that can build up in teams like this.
Oh, yeah.
The Jets didn't just lose in San Francisco. They got smacked.
Worked.
By NFL standards, they got absolutely run out of the building. And so that being said, I don't think Robert Saleh is a good enough coach to stem the tide of we're just the Jets. Aaron Rodgers might be a better leader for that. He has done it before. Relax, RELAX, right? Like he has done it before. And I believe that if a guy like that with that much experience tells the team like, hey, we're going to be fine, blah, 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 that maybe he can turn it around. But if the Jets go 0-2, like I just think that's a big ask of Aaron Rodgers of hold this team together while we try to turn this around. You can't lose to the Titans. The Jets can't put themselves in that situation.
And I think you got to start.
They have to have this.
Then you got to start asking: is Robert Saleh the right guy for this team? Defensive coach.
They're already asking.
Of course they are, and the Jets do that even if their team's winning. But you brought in this defensive coach, made him a head coach. You gave him what was arguably a pretty decent defense, and gave him a good amount of talent. And then obviously the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, we won't even get into that. But they've got some receivers. They got Breece Hall. Obviously that first year he blew out his knee, so you call that maybe a wash. But you can't lose to a team like the 2024 Titans with the lack of star power.
Yeah, but I don't think the Titans are horrible, but I don't think they're good. And I just don't think you can afford to let this one slip. You know what I mean?
You need to beat teams you should beat. Titans are a beatable team. You need to win this game. If you go 0-2, I mean, don't get me wrong, my little heart will sing because it's the Jets.
I mean, I was like, how much is it going to feel like that division is the Bills' division if the Jets lose to the Titans today? Week 2.
And with what's happening in Miami. I mean, then you go, oh my God, is New England the second place team in the division? Nobody had that.
Yeah.
So what are you going here? Jets -4 because they need
it,
right?
I'm taking the Jets and I'll lay the 4 points. I think they figure it out. The 4 might be a little bit too much for me. I'd feel a lot better if it was 3 because I feel like I'd at least get a push out of it, but I'll still lay it. What about you?
I'll take the 4. I'm taking the Jets. This does feel like a must win as much as people throw that term around. The Jets can't start 0-2 in a division with the Bills, and the Dolphins already have a win. So if the Dolphins, even without Tua for the rest of the season or for a couple weeks or whatever else, you can't fall behind in this division. And there's a good chance that even the New England Patriots are 2-0. So if you start 0-2, you're buried.
All right. Last game of the morning, and then we'll do our little commercial break, and we'll go through the afternoon games. We're gonna save that game for last. I'm just gonna warn you right now. Giants and Commanders in Washington. All right, we have to talk about this football game.
Do we?
Yep. Daniel Jones has thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns since he signed his contract.
Peterman.
Daniel Jones has thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns since he signed his contract. Anybody wants to blame this on Brian Daboll, please see yourself out. I don't know. It was interesting because they were the Hard Knocks off-season team. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't. Like, I know they were trying to get up to get a quarterback and the deal wasn't really there for them, but I don't know. You gotta make it there for you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get that high that often, and you were within striking distance of making the pick. It would have cost you a lot, but holy Daniel Jones, Batman.
But if that's your guy, you gotta do it. And now they're suffering with what did Jones get? $45 million a year, or is it 50?
No, it was. I mean, it was like 40. It was a little bit less than the top tier quarterbacks. Which, if he played at the level he played at that playoff year, would have been an okay deal. But
that 1 year, yeah, no. I hate this game. I hate the spread. I don't think either team is very good right now. I think the over-under at 43.5. I feel like I would smash that under more than I would look at this spread, but that's me.
I mean, Jaden put up 20-something points last week on a decent Bucks defense. So, listen, the kid, the king is here, right? It's going to feel like a little bit of a celebration in Washington. New owner. I still think that matters, right? Even though it was last year. New owner, new coach, new quarterback, new era, right? Like, today is the day you get to go to the park and celebrate. So I feel like that fan base is going to be on one. It's a great fan base who has been absolutely downtrodden for 2 decades now.
So long.
Yeah. But they're good fans. You grew up there. I mean, right? They're good fans.
They're still there. And I think when you burned the sage and gotten all the ghosts of the last 2 decades out of that building, you've got a rookie quarterback who you can build around. You've got some receiving talent. You've got a little bit of talent on defense. I have zero faith in the Giants at this point, even with Dable.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a party. This feels
good.
Welcome home the brand new quarterback. You know what I mean? So I'll take Washington and I'll lay the 1.5.
Agreed.
All right, we're both doing that. Let's hit the commercial real quick, and then we'll come back, go through the afternoon games, including that one. Kansas City Bengals. Gonna be fun. All right, let's hit this commercial. Oh, hold on. Now I gotta wait a second. Hey, by the way, do you have a commercial question? Because I don't really have one. We're gonna have to find one. If
I got one for you.
Ooh, is it gonna suck?
It might be.
All right, tell me what you got.
All right, commercial question. This is 100% personal to you. I want to know, if you had the opportunity to buy one franchise out of these two.
I was going to say, you know which one I'm buying. Okay, go ahead.
who are you taking? And you're looking for the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're looking for the New York Yankees. Who would you buy?
There's no question. There's no question.
Isn't there?
Tell me who you would buy.
So obviously, financially, you're going to take the Yankees. If you're looking to retire, that's the only
thing that matters.
You're printing money.
This is a business decision here, right?
100%.
Patrick Mahomes' career is only so long.
And I was trying to give you the out to be nice to Chiefs fans right here, but obviously that would be
Do you see what the Patriots are right now?
Yep.
That'll be. I mean, that's going to be Kansas City at some point, right? Yeah. So, and you can hang as many banners as you want, but
don't get me wrong. I think a championship would be great, but the Yankees get to basically print money every year, no matter how garbage they are.
And you can, if you have the right people running it, you can put yourself in a situation where championships are possible.
Right. And with the amount of money you print, you just bring in talent until it comes together. And then every 10 years, you try and win a championship, boost your money even more, and then keep printing money. So
yeah. I mean, listen, it's a commercial question, so it's fun to talk about, but also not close to me. Not at all. I think, though, it's an interesting question of which, like, for the first time in history, I think you'd rather be a basketball player than a football player.
Fully guaranteed contract.
Not fully guaranteed, but there's a lot more guarantees. And like I saw this stat for Leon Draisaitl. So Leon Draisaitl is one of the best players in hockey. Plays for the Edmonton Oilers. Signed a multi-year deal. think it was $12 million a year. And somebody put up a tweet that was like, here is where that salary would rank in each of the other major sports. And in the NBA, it was like 119th. He's got the number one contract in the NHL. And he's like the fourth best player on the worst team in the NBA. Like,
right. Yeah, you're like the third man off the bench for a failing franchise in the NBA, and you're still making that.
There's 30 teams in the NBA. 30 times 4 is 120. Like he is the fourth best player on the worst team in the NBA. And he just signed a record-setting deal in the NHL. Like the money in the NBA is just stupid right now. And so your commercial question for those of you that are just getting back to us was, would you rather own the Chiefs or the Yankees? I think it's more interesting to say, like, would you rather own the Yankees or the Lakers? Because like,
yeah, that's fair.
Because like NBA money is getting stupid, dude, and like partially because their TV contracts, they don't have to split it so many ways because there's not as many players on each team. But yeah, I couldn't believe that when I saw that Leon Draisaitl stat. Money in the NBA is getting dumb.
Stupid.
All right. Afternoon games, we'll start with Rams and Cardinals, both 0-1, but I thought both teams really acquitted themselves nicely in week 1.
100%.
Cardinals, I think, are better than people want to give them credit for. I really liked some of their defensive pieces. Now, of course, I watched that game against the Bills closer than any other game in the NFL slate, but I really like some of their pieces on defense. And, you know, every year there's one of these teams that you bet on that the public and Vegas, they don't quite know who they are yet. And like 3 years ago, it was the Bengals. Last year, it was the Texans. Like, who is that team that's good that Vegas doesn't know that they're good yet? And I think it could be the Cardinals. Like,
I got to tell you that Dortch kid at receiver.
Yep.
He came out with some fire. He had great hands. Yes, they wound up losing. Yeah, but they came out quick. I mean, they did a really nice job. Their defense was swarming. Obviously, long term, that didn't matter as much. Josh Allen did Josh Allen type things, but you know that's hard to stop.
I think they got 2 good linebackers. Their corners are okay. They've got Budda Baker at safety. Their D-line looked all right. I mean, I thought their defense was pretty good. And then, like, James Conner was an animal.
Yeah.
If they would have leaned on him like they did during that first drive throughout the game, I feel like
we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, it would have been a real successful game for them. So I say all that to say I like the Cardinals a lot. On the flip side, the Rams, I don't think have developed quite as much as I would have liked them to, but I think they have like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. Like Matt Stafford still has it.
Tyler Higbee out. Puka Nacua out. All of a sudden, 15 receptions a game are gone. Who's that go to?
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. It's kind of like a Josh Allen situation. I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? I don't think it matters so much who he's throwing to. So, listen, that's a lot to put on a old-ass Matt Stafford. I get it. I think the Rams will be okay. That said, I think they start 0-2. I'll take the Cardinals. I'll lay the point. I just think Kyler Murray, I think people want to make jokes about Kyler Murray and Call of Duty, and he hasn't been a successful quarterback in this league, and I like their coach, and I think they figure it out.
When he scrambled on the Bills last week, he did well. James Conner and that offensive line, if, like you said, if they had leaned on him that whole game, now you're talking a different score at the end of that game. Does that mean they would have beaten the Bills? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think with the Rams injuries, and you know, Cardinals at home, I'm going to go ahead and take the -1 with the Cards. Again, might not be a great game to watch, but I agree.
I think
the Cardinals.
I think it will be. I think the Cardinals are more fun than people think they are.
I think they can be. They need to put it together, but I'll take the Cardinals in this one.
Okay, this one we're saving. That one we're doing last. Dun, dun, dun. So we'll go to Steelers and Broncos. The terrible towels coming to the Mile High City. Steelers -2.5 for a Broncos home opener. I think we have confirmation that it's Justin Fields, right? Yeah. So listen, the Broncos had a couple injuries. Nothing I'm overly concerned about. It sounded like Garrett Bowles is going to play. Do you have the report there?
I didn't see him on the list, so I believe he's going.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know how many weeks I can beat this drum, but I'm going to keep doing it for now. I think the Broncos are better than people think that they are. And we talked about Mike Tomlin last week. Like, we talked about it in terms of that Atlanta game. And I kind of said, like, Atlanta's the team that won the offseason, and Mike Tomlin beats that team on week 1 all the freaking time for some reason. I don't know why. They didn't even score a touchdown, man. They didn't even score a touchdown. And I think this Broncos defense is better than the Atlanta defense, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing to them. And I just think Bo Nix had a rough first game, but there were signs there. Like, he made just a couple rookie mistakes, like things you would expect. But I also felt like there were things that he did. When you watch a rookie quarterback like that, for me, I'm not as much looking at the mistakes as I am the flash plays, the things that make a difference. And I felt like he had some really nice throws. He's got to have a little bit better decision making, but if that's his problem, then I feel like he can absolutely correct that. He's more he looks more athletic out there than I thought. He delivers the ball better than I thought he would. And like I said, I think the Broncos defense is better than they get credit for. So I think the Broncos win a home opener in Bo Nix's debut here in Denver. And I think it might be by a significant margin. So I will not only take the Broncos, but I will take them money line. I'll take them to win outright.
Ooh. Okay. I don't disagree. I think Pittsburgh's defense looks good. I think the equalizer is going to be the altitude in the early season. I think everybody's, going to underestimate that. Broncos at home, I think they have a better idea of what their rookie quarterback has and kind of how to work with what they saw last week. Justin Fields doesn't do it for me. My only concern is he's going to scramble for 4 first downs and keep Pittsburgh on the field and in the game. I'm still going to take the Broncos at the +2.5. At that point, for +125, I'd probably take that money line as well. It looks like Vegas doesn't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Neither do I. So, let's go Broncos +2.5, and I'm also going to do the +125 on the money line.
Well, then just don't bet the +2.5. Just put all that money on the money line. You know what I mean? Have a set of better. Where are your balls, Dave G?
I thought we bet the spread here.
Get you some. Well, we do bet the spread here. Unless you're picking the underdog and you're willing to bet the money line, then go ahead. If you bet, listen. Here's how betting works. If you are betting the underdog and you bet the money line, that's having nuts right there. If you bet the favorite on the money line, you're a total wuss. I mean, that is absolutely pathetic, and there's no way you should be allowed to do that.
Well, then I'll skip the spread and I'll take the money line.
That's fine. Yeah, if you want to forego the points and say that they'll win outright, just let those big red hairy nuts swing around and tell everybody that you're taking the money line.
Looks a lot like my head. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I kind of want to talk about the Sunday night football game before we go back to Bengals Chiefs. All right, let's do that then. Bears and Texans. NBC Sunday night. 2 years ago, this would have felt like the most dog shit Sunday night game that you could possibly have.
Correct.
And I still have to convince myself that this is going to be fun to watch. This is going to be fun to watch, Dave. I really believe that. I truly, honestly believe that.
I think there will be some fireworks in this game. Vegas has that over under at 45. So they think there's going to be some scoring, which I like. The Texans look good. Joe Mixon looked good. Well, I think Josh Allen probably should have been the offensive player of the AFC last week. Joe Mixon got it, but he also earned that. He came in strong. That Texans team looked pretty good. The Bears, that was an ugly, ugly, ugly game. Not a game I loved, but I think this could be a good game. That 6 points is tough right now. I think the Texans can win.
I'll take it. Let me make it easy for you. I'll take the 6 points. Listen, the kids' first primetime game, Sunday Night Football, right? You get to do the lineup where kids dream about that their whole freaking life, dog, where they get to say Caleb Williams, quarterback, USC, right? Like this is the moment. And it doesn't mean that they're going to win the game, but I'll take the 6 points. I will take the 6 points.
Going with the Bears. Ooh. Now, who do you think wins the game?
Wait, are you just like sleeping on the pick like that? What are you doing here? Welcome to betting. Welcome to betting.
Well, I think the Texans have this. Do I think they're a full touchdown favorite? I kind of do. I think the Texans have it. I think they'll get it by at least a touchdown, but I think it'll be a good game, hopefully a better game than the Bears' first game last week.
The Texans are better than they were last year, no doubt about it. But the Texans last year, so many of those games, they squeaked out, dog.
Barely.
They squeaked out.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, another year older, another year wiser. You add Stephon Diggs, like you add Joe Mixon. That there are reasons to think that they are a more dominant team this year than they were last year. 6 points is a lot, right? Like when people say the Bills are going to beat teams by 6 points, I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's the NFL, right? Like 6 points is a lot in the NFL. And I just think Caleb Williams is going to have some extra
behind him.
Yeah, just some extra spunk behind him for his Sunday Night Football primetime debut. Hello, NFL. Here I am.
So you're taking +6.
Yeah. I might like there is this little voice in my head saying take the Bears money line, just so you know. It lives there. It exists.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's
considering that?
I am considering it, but that'll be something that I decide based on how the rest of my bets during the day go.
Hang your nuts. Hang your nuts. Just do it.
Nope. For now, I'll just take the 6. I'm just telling you that voice exists. It's there. But I don't have the nuts for it right now. I'll take the 6 for now, and then if I have a great day otherwise, maybe I'll throw an extra, $5 on Bears money line.
All right.
Game of the day, Bengals, Chiefs. Bengals always start slow. Why Cincinnati?
Mental health guy, you are 100% right on that. That was that note when you said it earlier. Bengals usually start slow.
Yeah.
There is not a team that starts slower than these guys. I just don't get it.
Yeah. And every year they have a reason, right? There's an excuse. Joe Burrow coming back from injury, whatever. Wide receivers not in camp. Whatever you want to say it is, they've got excuses. They should have won that game versus the Patriots. Should have won that football.
But again, everything that went wrong or could go wrong did, and it went in favor of the Patriots. And it was, you almost felt bad by the third quarter. You're like, oh, you muffed a punt and gave it back, or muffed a kickoff and gave it back to him. Oh, you just everything that could go wrong. Oh, you scored a touchdown. Oh, did you? Nope. Just kidding. It was a rough game. You'd like to see some bounce back from them. 6.5 points.
It's a lot.
In Kansas City.
Here's the thing. So, yeah, the Chiefs looked very basic white girl. Very basic white guy. Like, they are the person that you date and you bring home and you're like, hi, this is Ashley.
Unoffensive whoever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like, hi, this is Sven. And like everybody knows that they make, 6 figures and they're hot and it's annoying how good looking they are, but they're unspectacular. And that's what the Chiefs felt like to me. Unspectacular. They
agreed.
They
and
were,
and the Chiefs probably should have lost that game.
But they were just good.
Just
know what
good
I mean?
enough.
Like, and that's what the Chiefs are. And that's what Patrick Mahomes was talking about in the offseason. Like, he felt like they didn't have enough juice last year during the regular season. They needed to pay more attention. Like, they just are good. And it's annoying. It's very annoying that they're just good and they just win games. I desperately want to take the 6.5 points and believe that the Bengals are going to be ready for this game after getting beat week 1 in a game they shouldn't have lost.
What about Gatorade Gate?
Desperately.
Did you see the video?
I saw the thing. It was stupid. He did pick up the Gatorade bottle. Like, I don't know why people are freaking out about it.
And then he squeezed it. You're like,
yes, he's going to keep flexing that. Like, I dislocated my hip in high school. I still like move it around just to move it around. Like, yeah, it happens. It's fine. He's fine.
Now, any chance, do you see any way the Bengals come out and win this game?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Joe Burrow looks in midseason form. They win this game.
When was the last time Joe Burrow looked in midseason form?
Mid-season last year, right before he got hurt. I mean, the Bengals started real tough last year, but they were putting it together. Like they were steaming back towards relevancy, and then he got hurt and forget it. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm making a case for the thing that I don't really believe in. So let me walk back and just say, here's why I'm picking the Chiefs. Andy Reid on a bye week is the most dominant coach in NFL history. Give that man extra time to prepare for anybody, and he tears people apart.
Correct.
So it's not a bye week he's coming off of, but it's a mini bye.
But it's a mini bye. Yeah.
It's a mini bye. He had 10 days to stew and think about how he was going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And before that, he had 10 days that after the preseason. Right. So like really what you have is if he wanted to spend time on the Bengals, he could have spent time on the Bengals at the end of the preseason and then gone back. Like this is Andy Reid with way too much time to prepare to beat somebody. And so I will take the Chiefs. I will lay the 6.5. I don't feel great about it because I do think the Bengals are okay. Not okay in the sense like they're an okay team. Okay, like everything's fine. I think they're a good team, and I think the Bengals will prove that at some point. But I think the Chiefs win, and I think they cover. You?
And the optimist in me wants to take the Bengals plus 6.5. I don't know if they're going to put it together. I don't know if Lamar is healthy.
Burrowhead. Go ahead, do it. Do the thing.
All right. I'm going to take the Bengals plus 6.5. That's a 100% optimist bet. Don't come at me. This is me hoping and
don't
wishing.
Tell us what to do. I'll come at you. I don't care.
Now, do I think the Chiefs win? Yes.
And interesting.
I just hope they're going to cover that spread.
An interesting side note for this story, Jamar Chase. Did you see all that go down?
Yeah.
So he says he feels misled. And he took out. No, I mean I could hear that. Like if the Bengals are like, "Hey man, get in camp. We'll get this worked out before the season starts, but we need you in there," kind of thing. And then like there's no progress on the deal. I could see feeling misled. I'm not rolling my eyes at that.
But also, if you're working for a contract, and I get everybody plays it a little differently. I want to show people that I'm still here, and I want to make Burrow look good. I want to catch all the stuff that comes my way. I want to throw some hustle out there. I think he's not at 100% health wise. I think the contract is probably weighing on him. But dog, come on.
Listen, I hope this is the beginning of the unraveling for the Bengals. I would love
right.
That.
Of course. After this week.
That'd be fantastic. But Jamar Chase took out a $50 million insurance policy for if he gets hurt. I think that dude's going to go out and ball this year now. Now you've got an angry Jamar Chase on his hands, and I don't think he's sitting out the season. I think he's going to go out there and say, "I'm going to show you why you need me." And then I think he's going to leave. I don't think they're going to pay him. So it'll be really interesting. It'll be really, really interesting. But yeah, I think for this 1 year, for Bengals fans, an angry Jamar Chase is a good Jamar Chase. I don't know if there's long term there, but it'll be really interesting to see what happens with all that. All right, one more game to go. And it is the Monday nighter tomorrow. Actually, kind of excited about this one. I thought Jalen Hurts looked great. Yeah. I really did.
I mean, you had an offensive ground and pound game that was just succeeding, and you had a quarterback who looked comfortable even on a garbage field. Hard not to see that team and go, shit, we might be in trouble.
Milkman, don't come on anything. No, oops, what? Huh? Look at Milk. Well, it's good to know you're here, big dog. We love you.
I was about to say, real quiet this week.
Yeah, I was not talking a whole bunch of shit, but sorry, go ahead.
Eagles look dominant. Eagles looked like they were in midseason form, unlike the Bengals.
I mean, I have always loved the Eagles defense. They continuously draft players that I am crazy about.
That D-line,
Jordan Davis
line is stupid.
Yeah. They constantly I'm like, I really like this guy, and then he starts sliding in the draft, and somehow he ends up being an Eagle. So hats off, Howie Roseman. That team I think is really good, and I don't know if it was our show I mentioned this on last week, but I do believe this about Jalen Hurts specifically. What a lot of NFL quarterbacks nowadays don't get is time. Just to see the defenses, see what the NFL looks like, adjust to the speed, be ready to go. And Jalen Hurts has gotten time. And I just feel like he's starting to come into his own a little bit here. Let's see, Milk. What are you saying? I'm back, Alabama won, Niners probably today. Bills still shit, so I'm doing great. Yeah, the Bills really looked like shit on Thursday.
Those 2-0 Buffalo Bills garbage Panthers. Yeah, come on, get out
absolutely here. Shellacked the Miami Dolphins, who I'm pretty sure, Milk, you had said earlier in the season would win the division. So whatever.
Go back and watch the rest of the episode, and then come back next week so you can see where we went with that.
But yeah, very typical. All I'll say about your comment and the fact that you're here, Milkman, we appreciate you being here. But all I'll say about your comment is that it's very funny that you are pointing out the only time that you show up is when Alabama wins and the Niners win. Yes, we know you're a front runner. Thanks for pointing it out again. Next time your teams lose, come back and face the music.
Please come back.
Yes, yeah, Mr. I'll come at you. But anyway, so yeah, Jalen Hurts, man, feels like he's coming into his own a little bit. He's starting to do that thing where he's seeing it, he's manipulating the defenses, he's playing his game, and he's able to figure out what he needs to do to get there. And like it was the evolution that we saw from Josh Allen that I felt like really took him to the next level. You saw Patrick Mahomes do it that year. They beat the Chiefs finally in the playoffs. Like it's just you see those quarterbacks who ascend a level, and I feel like we could be on the edge of that with Jalen Hurts, where maybe he levels his game up again. Falcons, I'm worried about Kirk Cousins, man. Like the dude can't move. The dude cannot move. And maybe it gets better through the year as he gets in better shape, but it's tough.
It didn't look good.
Yeah.
He looked stiff. He looked pained. He looked like somebody who probably shouldn't have been out on the field. But do you jump to your rookie quarterback and give him time to rest up?
I don't think it's out of the question. No, I don't think it's a time to rest up thing. I think if you get 4 or 5 games into the season and Kirk looks like that through all of them, I think you're thinking about going to Penix.
If you don't have a quarterback, that offense doesn't run. Their defense is pretty good. Grady Jarrett, I like the fact that he's still doing stuff. I'll take the Eagles and I'll take the -6. I just don't see a way the Falcons are going to be able to play at that level with either a rookie quarterback or a very, very injured quarterback.
Yeah, I love the Eagles. I don't love the -6. It is making me so I heaped all that praise on the Eagles, and I do think they're that good, but 6 is a lot in the NFL. It really is. And with this is even less. I've said before, I've bet games just because of the spread, not because I like the team. That's happened like 3 games already today. This game, I'm going to be watching and middling this bet, right? So I'm going to take the 6, and I'm going to hope there's a point in the game that the Falcons get up by like a touchdown, and I can middle it and bet the Eagles. I like the Eagles a lot. I think the Eagles will win this game. But I'm going to take the Falcons in the 6 points because I feel like 6 points is too much.
They're both -110. Nah, I'm still going Eagles. I don't have it. I'll take the -6. I just don't see Kirk Cousins based on last week. I wouldn't trust him to pick up a water bottle that Joe Burrow drops. He looked injured.
Did you just ask Kirk Cousins to bend over?
The fact that your mind went there says more about you than it does about me, brother.
I know. I mean, you just made like a very drop the soap type reference.
and Kidder 96, why would you want the Chiefs to win? Why do you hate us?
Yeah,
why do you want to make us sad?
I mean, unless you're from Kansas City, I don't think there's many NFL teams that want the Chiefs to win. They're getting to the point of their dynasty that there's no longer any feel-good stories there. Right?
No,
there are,
and there's no. We're underdogs and people are underestimated. Like,
the first Super Bowl they won, it was like, hey, the Patriots are gone. All right, and then the second,
whoa.
The second Super Bowl they won, it was like Andy Reid is going to be considered one of the greatest coaches of all time, and I feel like the man deserves it. Happy for him. And then it was like, good for
not again. Not again. We have already gone through this, and we finally have a quarterback.
I don't know. And now it's just there. You cannot. There's no storyline that you can find that is anybody wanting the Chiefs to win. You know what I mean? Like it's just not a thing. Not a thing. All right, that is your NFL Sunday pregame show. Let's see. Anything else before we get out of here? You got anything else, David?
It's week 2. We get to kick back and watch some football without too much stress outside of these bets. And, it's all that really matters is you and me, Rob.
That is right. That is true.
And big shout out to Sterling, who is not here this week.
Yeah, but we're still on all his channels. So what's up, people on Sterling's channels? boy living his best life out in the OC. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that when he comes back.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I've got hopefully we'll do a Broncos film breakdown podcast tomorrow night. Me and Coach Sanford, who I work with at Altitude Sports Radio. And then Sturls is supposed to be back Tuesday night to do a little Bills breakdown. And if you didn't watch our podcast last week, there was a very prominent Dolphins fan who was on our podcast telling us how much the Dolphins were going to win by.
Was a rough
when
one.
We left it, I said, listen, I'll be here next week. So if I'm wrong about the Bills winning, I'll be here. And he's like, I'm coming back. If I'm coming back, I'll come back on the podcast. I'm like, either way. He said either way. So if you want to come watch somebody eat crow, like Milkman never has to, come hang out with us Tuesday night. All right, Big Dog. Anything else?
Nah, much love. Thank you all for joining us. Love to see even you, Milkman. Even you. Love to have you here.
Even you, Big Dog. All right. We love y'all, and we'll catch you next weekend on your NFL pregame show. Make sure you at least come back for that one. We will see you later, team.